Hello, greetings, and welcome to a special edition of the Bess and I Show. I'm Davis.
I'm Bess.
And we are going to do a tour of our bookshelf. We're actually going to be moving soon, so we're going to start packing up our books, and we figured that it would be a great idea, based on a suggestion from our favorite librarian, who gives us all the free books for free, never charges us whenever we check out books, but she does make us return them, which is kind of depressing at times.
I know, such a jerk.
But we are going to show you some of our favorite books, just kind of go through them, and because our shelf is full of books that we've read, want to read, and so we'll just go through some of those. So if you want to start it off.
Me first? Okay. So I have not read a whole lot of books since we've been here. I've been so tired at the end of the day. And or working on other things and whatever. But one that I have started reading, have not finished yet, but really, really am liking so far, is called The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. And it is a novel written about an autistic child who's trying to discover how his neighbor's dog died, basically. And it is a really, really cool book, very fascinating, and it just kind of gives you a look into like the mind of an autistic person and how they're processing and thinking, and which has always fascinated me anyway. I just think it's really neat. So I would definitely recommend this if you like that sort of thing.
For me, it'll be two together. And I actually have not read these books. It's the last two of a trilogy by Pearl S. Buck. The first is called The Good Earth, and I read that probably about a year ago now. And I found both of these at I don't actually remember what order they are. And okay, it's like, yeah, okay, so Sons and then A House Divided. It's an awesome story about a Chinese farmer who comes to wealth, and that's the first book, The Good Earth, and not sure exactly where these two go, but I'm very excited to read those sometime. The first one was great, and I think a lot of people, I think it's a pretty well-known book. The first one is, but I don't...
Most people probably don't go on to read the second and
Yeah.
the third. I remember you really liked that book when you read it.
Yeah, it took me a while to find the two sequels, but I was thankful that I could, find them at a good price.
Yeah.
That is, yes.
Okay, so I get to go next.
Let's see, so many.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know which one to choose. Okay, I'll show you these. I'm going to do two as well. They're two different books, but they were gifts from Davis. Was this birthday or Christmas last year?
I think Christmas.
Christmas. Either way, they're just some of the most beautiful copies of a couple of my favorite books. Little Women. I mean, look how beautiful that is. The inside. Oh my gosh. It's a Puffin in Bloom edition. Absolutely beautiful. And then, of course, Anne of Green Gables. Can you tell I was homeschooled? These are two of my absolute favorite books. I love them because of the humanity, the sweetness, the goodness, and so many lessons of virtue that you find in these books. And they're funny and relatable, and they're both amazing.
Yeah, I read the first three of the Anne of Green Gables series last year, and they were very good. For me, next up will be a book called Singularity that I accidentally read when I was in middle school. I just saw the cover with what looked like a shark and two spaced out looking dudes, and absolutely loved it in middle school. It's by a guy named William Sleater, I guess that's how you pronounce his name. And there's these two brothers, they're twin brothers, and they don't really get along too well. I think they're kind of in their teens, and they go to an uncle's house who passed away, and they're inheriting this house, or their mom is, but they're going there for the summer, and they are kind of watching it until their parents get there so they can kind of sell it off and figure out what to do with it. But there's a shed in the back that they find out that when they go in the shed, time inside of the shed speeds up dramatically. So, a second outside of the shed is like an hour inside of a shed. I can't remember the exact calculation, but it's just such an awesome idea that I had never read anything quite like it. It's one of the first real kind of sci-fi-ish books that I read. I don't know how accurate it is, science fiction-wise, but it was just always very interesting to me because I thought, especially when I was younger, like I wanted time to slow down so I could, study things or work on something and, kind of take a step out of reality for a minute. And I always really loved that idea. And I just happened to find it. I could not remember the name of the book. I thought about this book for years. Couldn't remember the name of it. Tried to find it on the Google, but I couldn't. And I just found it randomly at a used bookstore here in Korea.
Isn't that funny?
And I saw the cover and I was like, that's it. So I had to get and I reread it, and it was just as good as I remember.
I love the cover art.
Yeah.
It's cool. I need to read that too. Okay, let's see. Okay, well, I'll pick a momish book. This book is really awesome. It's called Super Baby Food. And it is basically everything that you need to know about feeding your children well. It has all sorts of recipes, and I mean, you think, yeah, I mean, you just kind of blend whatever up and give it to them, whatever. Which is true. It's not super complicated, but she has awesome ideas for different things to combine so that they digest better, and then snacks and foods for your, like, finger foods for toddlers, and ideas on how to make and store ahead baby food so that you don't have to worry about it. And it's an awesome book. I've used it a ton with both of my kids and would highly recommend this book to any mom. It's by Ruth Yaron.
So this is a book that a friend of mine showed me when I was here in Korea the first time. My Sweet Orange Tree by Jose Maro de Vasconcelos.
You sent that to me while you were in Korea the first time as a
Yes.
gift, and I read it.
This book is
good.
amazing. It changed my life, kind of. But it's just an amazing story. It's one of my favorite books. The wickedest boy in the Western Hemisphere, hero of his country's greatest bestseller. So it was originally written in Portuguese, and I think sometime in the 70s. I don't remember exactly. And it's out of print in English just about everywhere. But it was available in Korea. It's got actually like Korean
Footnotes?
Yeah, footnotes down for learning English. And it is just an awesome story of a little boy who is quite the troublemaker, but has good intentions and a good heart, and just kind of his inner turmoil as he's growing up. And I've read that it's kind of autobiographical of the author. Amazing, amazing book,
It's a really
if you
good
can
book.
find it. If not, you might be able to find a PDF or something on the internet. It is a great, great read. Let's see, maybe a couple more?
Yeah, maybe one more each. Gosh, it's so hard to choose, though.
I'll share my last one with you real quick. All right, Travels with Charlie. John Steinbeck is definitely one of my favorite authors. And Travels with Charlie is about he and his dog, Charlie, traveling around the United States. I think John Steinbeck did, he was 6 years old, so it was a little bit later in life. Just got a camper, drove around the United States with his dog, and just talked to people, met with people, and excellent story, especially if you're a traveler and an adventurer. Really good conversations.
Inspiring.
Yeah, very inspiring. One of my favorite John Steinbeck books, and I like a lot of his books, but this is totally worth reading.
Okay. I'm going to go with fiction over nonfiction here. I was trying to choose which one. This is one of my absolute favorite stories ever. It's called The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. It's a mystery book. Lots of really cool characters and just a neat plot. Like, I remember the first time I read it, loving the main female character so much. She just had, like, the coolest character, the coolest personality. She was, I wish I could remember the exact quote, but the male character was thinking about her and just how she was just as she was. She wasn't all made up. She wasn't all primped up like so many of the women, but she was the most beautiful and strong woman that he'd ever met. And goes into, you've got people who, supposedly die but really don't and get mistaken for other people that maybe are their twins, and just all sorts of really cool stuff in here. Creepy a little bit, very suspenseful, but great book. Highly recommend it.
So, and last thing, I just want to make a shout out to R.L. Stine, my absolute favorite author, hands down. Got a number of Goosebump books up there, but he's just inspiration from first grade for me. And but I won't share any of those books but read every single one that he has, which is like 2,000 books. I don't know how many it is, but he has some excellent literature, classic literature.
I never got into the Goosebumps thing.
It's a shame, but I still am a reader.
I was more of a Babysitter's Club, Little Sisters books.
I'm not against those, but R.L. Stine's number one. Well, please comment down below what your favorite book is. What's on your bookshelf?
Please tell us. Share your favorite books so we can buy them and read them.
Yeah, books that you've read, books that you want to read. What's the book that you're like, oh, if I just had time, if I could go into that little shed where time slows down outside and I could read, what would that be? Comment down below, like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more, and until next time, read on.